it's Monday, and this week our theme is things that make us think. So my thing is going to be formal, which I know you know happened this weekend because you were there and it was such a good time. But I'm actually going to talk about how it was a great time, but how maybe planning it was a better time and what that kind of means and how that makes me think. So as I think I told you, probably once or twice or maybe 10,000 times, I was a big part of planning formal and it was a ton of work. We put in a lot of hours doing decorations and going shopping and just planning everything down to the last rock on those tables. And as much as I complain about all of the planning and everything and how much time it took and how my schoolwork got totally neglected, it was actually so much fun. At one point Jimmy was saying something about how it always seems like it's me and him and Paige who end up doing all of the stuff for various things, not just formal but other stuff. We always seem to be the people who are doing stuff. And he sounded kind of resentful, but at the same time it made me think about how, why is it that it's always us three? It's not that other people in Newman are incompetent, and it's not that they're uninterested, so why would it be that it's always us three that are doing things? And it has to be because we want to do things. And does that mean that I think we care more about Newman than other people? No, absolutely not. So what is it that gets us involved in doing all these things, and what is it about us that makes it so other people don't participate? Because it's not that other people aren't willing to do that. And I think that comes from having both a superiority and an inferiority complex at the same time. Allow me to explain. So when you're trying to plan something and do something entirely by yourself, you're trying to micromanage. You're trying to make sure you do everything exactly your way, and at least part of that comes from at least kind of believing that other people aren't going to do it up to your standards and that your standard is the standard that things should be held to. So that would be the superiority complex. On the other hand, you have the inferiority complex, where you feel like you can't do things necessarily as well as other people, but to attempt to prove that you can, you want to volunteer as much as you can, you want to do as much as you can and try to prove that you can handle it all by yourself. You want to keep other people away from it just to prove that you can handle it. So when we end up doing things like formal, where we have like 3 people planning the whole thing, we have this weird combination between thinking that we're super superior and that we're super inferior, and it's very interesting, but I also think it's a trap that a lot of college kids fall into, and it's just a part of being kind of in that in-between between being a child and being adult, and that's how some people kind of sort it out. Formal also made me think, because when choosing between whether I enjoyed planning the formal or attending the formal more, I'm honestly not sure which I would pick. I really got a lot of pleasure out of building something up from absolutely nothing, just taking this idea of Hollywood theme and then turning it into an actual night, an actual event with actual decorations and people and fun, and I think everybody had a really good time, and just watching that develop was really, really cool. And on the other hand, going to the dance, dancing with people, seeing you, eating the great food, and seeing all the decorations, I think it meant a lot more because I watched it from the ground up, and I was a part of building it from the ground up. But when I'm deciding which one I actually had more fun doing and which one I'm going to remember more, in all honesty, I'm going to remember the planning. I'm going to remember staying up until 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm going to remember going to Walmart at 2 a.m. And I guess what makes me think, is this a bad thing to enjoy the planning of something more than the real thing? Does it separate us from actually enjoying our lives? Or is it a good thing to recognize the process of something happening and to appreciate that process? Is that the journey is the important part, not the destination? But at the same time, when you get to the top of the mountain, you should probably enjoy it. So I didn't articulate that very well. I actually had a lot of really good thoughts about this, and I'm just having a lot of issues putting them out of my head and onto the camera. But I will try to do better next time on Friday. So I hope you had a really good time at formal, and I hope this video is somewhat coherent, and I look forward to your video on Wednesday.